Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with WinnersandWhiners.com coming to you with our Monday version of Winners and Whiners Radio. Welcome aboard, everybody. I am the lead handicapper at WinnersandWhiners.com, joined, as I always am, by my partner in crime. He is the one and only Scott Reichel. He is senior handicapper at Winners and Whiners. Welcome to Winners and Whiners Radio. Give us an hour, and we will give you the winners. Right, Scotty?
Yep, something like that. I feel a little bit older, turned 24 over the weekend. Pretty busy. I went to Florida, saw the Islanders win game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. I saw the Nets basically lose their third best player, second best player, whatever you want to call it. And I also won my play of the day. So kind of an up and down day, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'll take the profit, and I'll take the Islanders. How's your
All
weekend?
right. Outstanding. It was good. I get to see the Islanders win. I'm an Islanders fan as well. And we've done well on our picks. We've been 7-1 since Thursday on the premium side. So very good. 3-0 day today. I'm happy. I'm good. My Royals are mired in a horrible slump, but it's
Well, we saw that coming, so
really kind of did. They've been a streaky team. They managed to pull out one victory there against the A's, but they lost 5 of 6 on that West Coast swing. It hasn't been ideal.
yeah, we might have profited a little bit from the Royals' recent slump, but we'll get into that in a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way it goes. I feel like they do the same for us, Scott.
Well, the thing is that when it comes to evaluating your favorite teams, a Yankees fan like myself might be annoyed at how they've been playing against the Phillies over the weekend. However, as a bettor with a Red Sox and a Rays division ticket, suddenly the Yankees' bad play doesn't bother me as much as it might have about 2 weeks ago. Isn't that
Goes down a little easier, doesn't it?
a little bit more profitable down the road.
All right, very good. Well, we are going to start it off, Scott, as we always do, with the bad news. We're going to talk a little bit about the people that thought they had a winner, thought they had a sure thing. They were going to Amazon, putting stuff away, putting them in their cart, putting it on their wish list, and then disaster struck. Scott, there's only one thing to do, and it is time to call the cops. All right, let's get it rolling. Hey, if you were watching that Denver Phoenix game, oofta. You had Jokic over 12.5 rebounds. You were sitting in great shape playing a little player prop there. He had 11 rebounds with 3:52 left in the third quarter. Scott, you need 2 rebounds in 16 minutes. What could possibly stop Jokic from picking up 2 more rebounds in 16 minutes? Did he foul out?
Well, it seems like the only thing that could keep him out of getting it would be him not being in the game. And he didn't exactly foul out, but the refs did decide to throw him out. Does that count?
You are out of here, my friend. So if you had Jokic over 12.5 rebounds, that wasn't happening, kids. He was stuck on 11, and it wasn't getting any better. It is time for you to call the cops.
And the second one's going to be in baseball. If you had the Rangers and the Dodgers, and you had the total in this one at 7.5, you're in good shape on the under. 5 runs going into the top of the 9th. Now, the Rangers have not scored in the first 8 innings, 5-0 Dodgers at the time. Rangers scored 3 quote-unquote meaningless runs because the Dodgers still won the game, but the Rangers ended up helping you cash an over ticket. But if you had the under, you're in great shape, and then everything went wrong. So it's time for you to call the cops on that one.
Absolutely. They brought in Kenley Jansen. What an exciting player he is, Scott.
I can't fully blame him. He did give up 2 hits, but when you're supposed to get the day off and the reliever in front of you loads the bases with no outs, I'm not going to fully blame Jansen for inheriting a really bad situation when he probably shouldn't have had to come in the first place.
No, and he's had an outstanding season. He really has, as he's got an ERA 1.69, a whip of 105. Scott, not bad at all.
It's not bad, but every time you see highlights, there's always a guy in scoring position.
I know, and it's always a heart attack waiting to happen when Jansen comes into the game.
He reminds me a lot of K-Rod back when he was with either the Mets or the Angels. He ended up having the huge save record, which I think he ended up setting, I want to say like 10 years ago or something like that. but you always can remember him coming into the game, and you always had at least one or two guys on base every outing that he was in. But he shut the door, but he'd always give fans a heart attack.
Shoot that arrow.
That was Rodney, but
That's right. I thought.
Speaking of guys on base, Fernando Rodney was also really good at that.
You can see why I got confused. Hey, let's finish it up into the majors as well. It was the Mariners, Indians under 7.5. You had to sweat this one for quite a bit. Yeah, finally, it pulls into the ninth inning. They're on 6 runs. You're like, okay, we can just not give up 2 runs in the ninth. That'd be fantastic. Well, the Mariners, they didn't help. They went up and put up 1 in the top of the ninth. That gave them a 6-1 lead. All right, just bring in whatever tomato can you're going to do it. Shut the door on the Indians. You know they can't hit anyway. They can't score. They could in that one, Scott. They scored just enough. They scored one to make the game 6-2. I'm sure they feel much better about themselves. However, if you had the Mariners, Indians under 7.5, you do not feel good about yourself because you have an absolutely worthless ticket, and it is time to call the cops because you got robbed.
It's beats like that and the Dodgers game, which explain why people live by the motto. It's, pretty much it's always painful to bet the under just because it takes years off your life, man.
The other nice thing about betting in the over is once it's over, it's over.
Yep.
You cannot take a bad beat on the over.
But it's never under until the game's over, and then it's under.
Never under till it's over, then it's under.
Yep.
Absolutely right. So, Scott, the place you want to be, you don't want to be on Call the Cops. That's not the segment you want to be featured in. You want to be featured on the easy peasy segment, Scott. This is the one where you just didn't have to sweat it at all. You could have a nice Sunday afternoon, maybe kick back in your easy chair, take a little nap, Scott. These are the rocking chair games.
So,
take it away.
The first rocking chair win was in hockey. If you had the Islanders and the Lightning, and you're looking at the total in this one, if you had the under 5.5, you were in very good shape throughout until the game actually ended because you had 0 goals in the first period, 1 goal in the second period, which means you have to avoid absolute chaos in the third period, and you did. Game ended 2-1, was 2-0. Lightning scored with less than a minute to go, but you know you're in very good shape when the Lightning can score another one to tie the game, and you are still not in danger at all because if it goes to overtime at 2-2, the max score you can get, of course, is 5. So if you had 5.5, it was really just free money at that point, right?
Free money, just throwing cash on the ice is what they were doing in that one, Scott. You know, when they were 6-on-4 there, they did a tremendous job for about 40 seconds. And I thought it was going to be just an epic stand as they were going to keep them out of the goal in 2 men short there for the last minute and 40 or so. Alas, that did not happen, and we had to sweat out the last, 50 seconds or so?
Yeah, give or take. But then again, the goalie ends up going back in the net. Then he has to sprint all the way. You were in pretty good shape throughout. But the point is, if I was going to include the Islanders' money line a little bit, but anytime you see the Lightning with an extra guy there for about 2 minutes, no lead is really safe at that point.
Nope. That was a nice win to get, and it just goes to show you that price on the Islanders. We talked about it, Scott. We talked about the fact that we thought Tampa Bay should be figured, but it was just an outrageous price. We thought there was some value on the Islanders. It's a long way to go before that pays off for us, but it looks like so far we look pretty smart.
I will try to be there for Game 4.
Are you going to try to make it?
Yep. I've already been coordinating with some friends. We're going to try to go to the barn for Game 4.
Outstanding. And you know now that it won't be the last game. Well, it could be the last game, I suppose.
Could be.
Likely will not be.
Likely will not be. The Islanders need to win one more game to secure Game 6, but fingers crossed, one game at a time.
Well, we play them one game at a time. That's right. Scott, how about the Nets Bucks under 229? That was my play of the day, by the way. That was my free pick over on the YouTube side. And hey, who says good things can't be free? Because that one was an absolute no sweater. Under 229, Scott, forget about it. None of these quarters had more than 53 points. They put up 101 in the first half. You're thinking, you know what? We're in pretty good shape here. We just need to guard against being on Call the Cops tomorrow. And you know what? We were. 101 in the first half, 102 in the second half. That game landed 203. well under the total of 229 if you had the Nets Bucks. Under 229, you were in the rocking chair.
And the last one was in baseball. If you had the Blue Jays on the money line or the over in their game against the Red Sox, very, very easy. Blue Jays were up 4-0 before the Red Sox even got to bat. Martin Perez, not good. Got shelled in that one. The Blue Jays were then up 8-1 after the fourth inning and won 18-4. Ryan Weber out of the bullpen for the Red Sox actually set an MLB record for being the first pitcher ever to record 7 strikeouts out of the bullpen while also allowing 11 earned runs. Shout out to him for making MLB history.
Say that again for us, Scott.
So he came out of the bullpen, and Ryan Weber was the first pitcher ever to record 7 strikeouts out of the bullpen while also allowing 11 earned runs. That's called taking the mop-up role a little bit too seriously.
Man, who does that kind of stuff at Elias? That is some unbelievable. Would you like to do that? Would you like to just delve into those deep stats like that?
No, I'd rather be hitting off Ryan Weber.
My guess would be you hitting off Ryan Weber, no chance.
And you know that's going to be the worst case when they just send him down because his arm's exhausted. And he's just going, what do you want from me? You threw me out there when we were getting killed. I blew my arm out, giving up 11 earned runs, and this is how you repay me?
Got the dead arm. Dead arm. All righty. Well, very good, Scott. Hey, I know you're a big tennis fan. This was a big weekend for you. By the way, happy birthday. I know it was your 24th birthday.
Yep. Contemplating retirement as we speak.
Yep. I know you got a couple of futures out there that if they pay off, pretty good shape.
Fingers crossed.
By the way, Scott, one of my commenters on my YouTube video hit an 8-teamer the other night at 70-1.
Did he borrow any of our picks?
I'm trying to think if he had a couple of our picks tossed in.
If he did, then I heard rumors that you're supposed to collect 2%.
Get a little. I think he had $20 on it.
Nice, still a good payday.
A little $1,400 payout. Absolutely.
Never hurt anybody.
Nope, not a bit. Hey, my dog's up.
That's a good sign.
Congratulations to all of our YouTube listeners and our radio listeners. Very good. He's my mascot here in the studio, and
he's cheering you on.
Yeah, he's saying great job.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying Jokovic, and is it? And see, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Scott. I know it's got the D there. He's got the D. It's Djokovic. Won the French Open, his 19th Grand Slam title. Scott, he's probably the best of the modern era. Is he the best all time?
I think he is. Now, when it comes to the best ever in modern era, I think they're kind of synonymous nowadays. You can look at a Rod Laver type from way back in the day or even a Bjorn Borg. But I think most people would agree the best 3 of all time in men's tennis, for the sake of this conversation, is Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer in any order. Now, for me personally, I thought Djokovic was the best of all time before he won the French Open yesterday. I think it kind of ices it. He became the first player ever to win the Grand Slam in a career twice. So in other words, he won the U.S. Open, I'll actually go in order, the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open, each twice, which has never been done before. Of course, Djokovic has won a lot more than twice, but you get the point. So Federer never did that. Nadal never did that. And I think that kind of separates Djokovic from the other two is the fact that he is just so dominant and consistent on every single surface. And that's the issue I have with Nadal. Nadal has 20 Grand Slams, 13 are on clay. So I think that kind of skews things a little bit.
Right.
I have him third all time. Meanwhile, Federer is the one who a lot of people claim is the greatest of all time. But I do think Djokovic is going to pass him. When it comes to Grand Slams, he's one short now. Federer, with the knee injuries and the age, probably not going to win another one. So I think Federer is probably going to top out at 20. Meanwhile, Djokovic is just mauling people. And it seems like he's hitting his stride right when Nadal's injuries are kind of coming back and right when Federer's injuries have kind of stayed persistent over the last couple of months, if not over a year at this point. But Djokovic has a winning record against Nadal and Federer, which is usually a pretty good argument for why you're better than the other two, is the fact that you beat them whenever you play them the majority of the time. I think Djokovic is the best, and I think that he'll win a couple more, probably retire as the holder of the most Grand Slam titles. Meanwhile, I got Federer second and Nadal third.
Okay. All right. Very good. I was a big Borg fan, and He ended up with 11 Grand Slam titles. He did something 3 times, Scott, that no one else has ever done, and that's when he did it 3 times in a row, win the French and the Wimbledon in the same year, back to back.
Well, it's pretty tough to do when Nadal hogs all the French Open trophies for himself.
Well, I'll tell you this, Scott. Only Nadal and Federer have done it, and only Andre Agassi, Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic are the only male players since Borg to have won those titles over the course of their career.
Well,
So
we're going to see because Djokovic is going to be easily the favorite to win Wimbledon. So he should have a good chance to actually join that list of players. We'll see within the next month or so. I think he's going to win the Wimbledon. But the point is, you're going through the list of tournaments. There's actually a chance Djokovic can pull off the single calendar year Grand Slam because it hasn't happened in a long time. But you're looking at who he's against right now and how he's looking. Nadal or Federer were usually standing in his way. I don't know how long Nadal's going to be out with that foot injury. Didn't really seem like it was that, I'd say, fun when you're playing 4+ hours and a guy who relies so much on his athleticism like Nadal does. Seemed like that was a pretty bad injury. We'll see how he recovers. And Federer, I don't even know if his body can hold up for an entire tournament over 2 weeks. So Djokovic should be the favorite in that. And the U.S. Open, Djokovic will probably be favored again. So there might be a chance Djokovic can make even more history over the next couple of months.
So Wimbledon will start out first week in July. Is that when Wimbledon starts?
I believe so, but let me check the dates on that. It actually starts June 28th, so 2 weeks from now.
Okay. All right,
That's why I have serious questions about Nadal, because with the foot injury there, I don't know if 2 weeks is going to be enough for him to fully turn it around. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it depends on if we have any word on what the injury actually is.
It seemed like it was a heel injury, so we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But I don't know, especially with Nadal, who I mentioned before, relies on so much movement. One bad step or anything like that, and his game is completely compromised.
Yeah, that's not good at all because you've only got to get faster on the grass.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Scott, I think it's very difficult not to call him, if not the greatest of all time, second only to Federer.
I think he's top 2. No offense to Nadal fans. I know that he's a very entertaining player. I just don't have him in my top 2.
No, top 5 for sure.
I think he's top 3 without a doubt. I think those 3 in any order are the top 3, but I got Nadal third.
Who fills out your 5?
Oh, it's a really, really tough one because people would make an argument. People would make an argument for Sampras for one of the 4 or 5 spots, but he was so bad on clay. Like, I don't know if I can actually consider that. Agassi is maybe worth a shot, but I don't really know because Sampras did beat him a decent amount.
Right.
I think that Rod Laver would be in the top 5, but he was in a different era, so you can make an argument, kind of like the Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain stats, where you say, well, who was he playing against at that time? But I'd go Laver within the top 5. I'd probably go Borg to close out my top 5. With Agassi and Connors with Agassi, Connors, and McEnroe being 6, 7, and 8 in any given order.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, I would agree. The knock on Borg was always that he never won the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And that's of course he only had 11 Grand Slam titles.
I believe he also retired in his prime, kind of like what McEnroe did. So that's why you look at the Grand Slams and go, well, he never did this. And you go, yeah, but McEnroe retired when he was like 27. So, that also factors in where these other guys have played for so long, you can rack up so many wins, which was the Connors argument. But either way, they're all-time greats, all of them.
Yeah, it was a different era because Borg never won the U.S. Open. He only played the Australian Open once when he was 17. Just never. Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
So, all right, very good. What else we got here for today, Scott?
Well, we got to circle back to the.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier. As Jokic got ejected in the third quarter with, like I said, about 4 minutes left. Is that legit? Was that a legitimate case for being ejected right there, or was that a referee just trying to overcorrect?
Well, that's the thing, is that it's not the referee's fault because they review everything in Secaucus in New Jersey, where they have the confirmation process to determine if it was actually a flagrant 2 or not. I thought it was a flagrant. I thought it was a flagrant 1. I think the idea of ejecting Jokic for that was kind of laughable. But not even just to do with the fact that he's the MVP and it's an elimination game and you shouldn't eject him for that because that speaks for itself.
Does it?
But
Wait. Now you say it speaks for itself. Does that matter?
I think it does because I think if LeBron does that, he doesn't get ejected. Do you?
No, I wouldn't think so. So, I mean, why doesn't he have? So, you're saying he doesn't have the same superstar status that LeBron has, even though he's the MVP?
I think LeBron's on another level. I don't think anybody has the same influence that LeBron has besides maybe Kobe when he played and Jordan. And that's pretty much it when it comes to referee calls. But
are they afraid of LeBron? Are they afraid of LeBron Army? Are they afraid of LeBron unleashing a Twitter storm?
I just think he's the face of the league. So you got to pick your spots. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a pretty bad flagrant. I thought that it was a flagrant one, but the argument you can make is, let's just say, for example, this was not Jokic, and this was Campazzo. Would you have ejected Campazzo? Because if you would have said yes, then you have to eject Jokic. And my argument was, no matter who had committed the foul, I would not have ejected the player. I would have just marked it as a flagrant one. So I preach consistency. I was a fan of 2 free throws for Phoenix. They get the ball. Jokic stays in the game. That's how I would have viewed it. You find the middle ground between the two. But a flagrant 2 is pretty rare unless you actually try to decapitate the guy.
Yeah.
I didn't really see that happening in that case. You?
No, I would agree. I thought flagrant 1 at best.
Yeah.
I think everybody in the arena was certainly surprised.
Now, of course, it was a frustration foul. Jokic knows his team's been getting its ass kicked for the last week. He knows they're probably going to get swept at home because they were down double digits at the time, I think. But still, there's a difference between a frustration foul and actual assault. That was not actual assault.
No, at the end of the day, it didn't matter in the series. It might have mattered to this game.
I think they would have lost anyway, but I'm not complaining because I had the Suns minus 2.5, so I appreciate what the refs were doing for me.
No, they were like Johnny Carson in bell-bottom jeans, Scott. They weren't coming back.
Okay, I like that reference.
You all right with that?
Yeah, it's a good throwback reference.
Yeah.
Same people remember Borg playing.
What's that?
Same people that remember Borg playing get that reference.
Yes, the same people that remember Borg when he switched from wood to aluminum.
Yeah, and I think you went over after that.
Or that was I actually made that switch. It was that was a big time, Scott, when they had the AMF, the T2000, the T3000.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal with the aluminum rackets. They were so light, and you could just hit the ball a mile. It was a beautiful thing. And then they were compared to what they have now. Do you have a racket?
Yeah, I don't have a personal racket, but I have a couple laying around that I'll alternate between.
You don't have a personal racket? What do you have? Like a locker?
My family bought
rackets?
My family's very into tennis, so they have bought a lot of rackets, and usually I'll just pick one off the shelf and I'll just use it.
So like other people have like a gun case, you have a tennis racket case.
I guess that's one way to put it, but sure. I mean, I play tennis almost every week, so very, very big in my family. My grandfather is actually a professional tennis coach back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
Oh, coach anybody famous?
He coached a female who I believe was in the top 20, and I believe he got retired in the Miami Tennis Hall of Fame 3-4 years ago or something like that. So no, he's well known in Florida for being a tennis coach.
Okay, well there you go. Good place to be a tennis coach too, by the way.
It's warm weather, so you don't have to worry about
that's where
interrupting you.
A lot of people go there to train. I mean, it's
correct.
I'm the best tennis coach in Bismarck. Not quite the same.
There are people who I've come across who know my grandfather and his, I don't want to say tennis legacy, but they know how much he has done for Florida tennis over the last couple decades.
It's a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He's a Hall of Famer, Scott.
Not for the actual Tennis Hall of Fame, but for Miami Hall of Fame, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the ceremony?
No, I did not, but I did see photos of
it. You guys, we talked about this earlier. You guys are a big photo family, right?
I want to say they gave him a ring or something, but they gave him some type of commemoratory object.
How many photos were you in at the wedding, Scott?
Great question. Not many. I think I was in a couple with the bride and groom, but that was pretty much it.
So you didn't have to pose for photos?
No. I was busy watching the Islander game, so I ended up showing up late to the wedding. And I constantly had a drink in my hand, which was how I got out of some of the photos.
They don't let you put your drink down?
Oh, no, they do. I'm just joking. I was just prioritizing drinking over photos.
Good call. I think everybody listening would agree.
Yep.
You made the right decision. Scott, the Nets, are they in trouble? Kyrie's hurt. If Irving and Harden can't come back, are they done?
Yeah.
Okay,
As a
good
Nets
check.
fan, I'll be honest with you. Good talk. Yeah, they're done. You can look at going into the series. I had the Bucks in 6. I'm not going to be ashamed to admit that. It looked awful for the first 2 games of the series, and then the injuries kind of turned around my prediction. But at the end of the day, you saw what Durant tried to do by himself in the second half. It didn't work. Now, of course, it's a little bit different because you had a game plan, and now you have to adjust everything. But Middleton's been playing better. Drew Holiday's been awful, but you know that he's still a solid player. And Giannis had 34 again. They can't guard him. So do I think Durant by himself with the likes of Mike James and an older Blake Griffin are going to be able to match up against the Bucks? No, I do not. But the Nets are the home team, so of course they still have to win their home games and they advance. I don't see that happening. I don't know what the spread is for Game 6, but if Kyrie and Harden are out, I can guarantee you I'm betting the Bucks in Game 5. I mean, so if that's the case, I'm betting the Bucks in Game 5. I think if Harden and Kyrie don't come back, Bucks aren't going to lose another game in the series.
Are they really going to lose to a team that can't score more than 107 points?
I think they will because I don't know who on the Nets can score besides KD right now. Do you?
Well, they have no. I mean, no. I mean, you need somebody else to step up.
That's the problem, is that you're looking around, and the issue is it's not even just the fact that you have 2 superstars who are not playing. It's the fact that you have so much of your salary cap tied into 3 guys. And with 2 of them not playing, you have to rely on a pretty underpaid supporting cast to carry the load, and I just don't see that happening. So to answer your original question, I think if the 2 do not come back, Bucks in 6.
Do you think that Harden will be back for the next game?
I think Harden will not. First of all, I think Kyrie's done for the series. I think he's done. I think Harden will miss Game 5. I think if the Nets lose Game 5, he will come back briefly for Game 6. Maybe 20 minutes. I see a breaking case of emergency return for Harden in Game 6 if they lose Game 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that seems to be about the schedule. I think it's possible that he makes it back for Game 5.
I've heard he's made progress, but according to Nash, they're still a long way away. So we'll see what that means.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, Scott. Well, it'll be a fun series. It's really weird to see how well that Milwaukee has done without being able to score the ball.
Well, that's the thing, is that the Nets defense has been pretty solid, but I'm looking at the betting futures right now. The Nets are obviously still favored because they have the talent, but I think there's a lot of value going around because I don't see the Suns properly priced. I don't see the Sixers properly priced. I don't see the Bucks properly priced. I don't even see Utah properly priced. I just see a lot of really questionable lines right now going around. And I think the Nets, even though they're tied 2-2 and everything, they're about plus 250 as the favorites. I don't think they should be the favorites. Do you?
Yeah, let's talk about that series price a little bit.
I don't even mean series. I just mean NBA Finals prices. I just think it's way off. Do I think KD by himself can win a title with this team? No. And I don't know when Harden's coming back, so I don't really get the price at all.
And let's say that price again for everybody at home.
I believe the price for the Nets to win the title was around $250 on FanDuel, which is the lowest of all teams left. I don't agree with it. I think the Nets should be closer to 3.5, maybe even 4-1. Now you can make an argument. How can you say that? They still have Harden and Kyrie. I don't think Kyrie's coming back. That was a pretty bad ankle sprain.
Yeah, I guess there's no breaks, but he was on crutches in a boot.
It was bad. But you're looking at the Nets on FanDuel, they have plus 260. Utah's plus 290. The Suns are plus 460, which I think is very tempting because there's no guarantee Utah's even going to get past the Clippers. Meanwhile, Phoenix is taking a nap in the Western Conference Finals. So I think Phoenix has value there. The Bucks are plus 480, and Philly's plus 600. That sounds good to me. You want to look at the actual series prices? The Bucks are favored in the series at minus 130, and yet they're plus 480 to win the title, and the Nets are plus 260. Can you explain that to me?
No, I mean, are you thinking Are you thinking whoever comes out of the East is going to be your winner?
I would say yes. I
Okay.
think that Phoenix is a very good team, and it would not surprise me if they win it all. But I do think the East is better than the West.
Isn't that weird that how that changed over the season? Because for a lot of the year, we kind of made fun of the East. They were just sort of the underachievers. The West, at one point, looked like they had 3 or 4 teams that were better than anybody in the East, and that's not the way the season finished up, was it?
Not really. I always thought that the East had better teams at the top, where I thought the West was better from top to bottom, which hasn't really changed much. But the truth is, you had a lot of teams in the East that were kind of sleepwalking through the regular season. The
Right.
Bucks were a team that we couldn't predict at all. The Nets, were just not playing any defense at all during the entire regular season, and Philly was missing Embiid for about a month and a half. So it was pretty tough to gauge, but it just seemed like the Western Conference cared more about the regular season.
Yeah, I completely agree. So we've got a couple of series prices up, Scott. Of course, the Hawks and 76ers. Sixers, big favorites there, minus 575. Any value on the Hawks at plus 455?
I don't see it. I feel like Philly's just a terrible matchup for this Atlanta team. And you're going through what you've seen so far. Atlanta won game one. We know that. They were great in the first half. Ever since the first half of game one, has their offense really done anything to give Philly problems?
No, they haven't.
It hasn't, and Embiid's getting to the line 15-plus times a game. So, no, I don't really see much changing. I think Philly probably wins in 5, but we'll wait and see. Do I think there's value on Atlanta, though? No, I don't see it.
I would agree with that. And that was it was the Hawks. They made their big adjustment. They doubled up Embiid most of the time. They kind of kept somebody with a half an eye towards the lane where that would collapse when he drove to the hole. So what did he do, Scott? He just dished the ball. He gave out 8 assists, including 3 on wide open 3-pointers.
And he's still at 27 points.
He still had 27 points because he still shot 16 free throws. He went 12 for 16 from the line. So,
if you're looking for any value on this series, Philly minus 770 on FanDuel is a lot, but Atlanta's not going to win the series. But at the end of the day, if you want to take the 76ers minus 1.5 games at minus 230, it's juicy, but there's not going to be a game 7. I mean, who are you kidding? I mean, realistically, Philly in 5 or Philly in 6. I think you'd probably agree with me on that.
yeah, I don't really see another way around that at all. So, and I've got it at another offshore book at 575. So always do your shopping if you want to look offshore. A little better prices than the minus 700. So
I do like that series game spread handicap, though, because minus 1.5 games, this is not going 7.
no, the Hawks are not going to rally for 2 more wins.
Yeah, I don't see that happen.
So out in the West, Scott, the other series price that's up right now is the Jazz minus 175, Clippers plus 155. What do you think?
I'm really torn here because the Clippers are the same exact thing last series. They were getting buried, and then suddenly they realized, wait a second, we have 2 really good players, and they suddenly remembered how to play basketball. Now, Utah, I think, has problems, and it's not just because of the fact that they lost game 3. It's the fact that Mitchell got injured. And we know Conley's status has been a problem, hasn't played in any of the first 3 games.
Well, it hasn't been a problem so far.
Well, it wasn't for the first, but I'm saying the fact is that if Conley's still going to be out and now Mitchell is less than 100%,
yeah,
you have a huge problem with your backcourt. And I'm not saying the Clippers' backcourt's very good, but Mitchell means so much to that team, and we saw how much he meant when they lost game 1 to Memphis when Mitchell didn't play. If he's less than 100%, Utah is not going to win many more games in the series. Now, you need Mitchell to continuously drop about 30, 35 plus if you want to win this series, because the 2 games in Utah were close. Utah won, but they were kind of there in the middle of the 4th quarter. Clippers were hanging around, and the Clippers buried Utah in game 3. I think the Clippers win game 4. I think that Mitchell is going to struggle a little bit in game 4. But if you're looking at the prices right now, you have the Clippers as the underdogs at plus 154 to win the series. Series spread, Clippers plus 1.5 games is minus 180. I like that. It's juicy once again, But I think if Utah is going to win, it's going to be home games only because I don't see them winning a game in Los Angeles. Do you?
Certainly not without Donovan Mitchell. No,
Or
I
even Mitchell at 70%. I think he needs to be above 90 for them to
yeah,
have a shot.
I would probably agree with that. And I think you're maybe selling this LA Clippers backcourt a little short. I know you don't like Paul George.
Well, Reggie Jackson's been very good.
Reggie Jackson's been dead eye from 3-point land.
And Rondo's been out to lunch. I don't really know what Rondo's been doing for the playoffs, but whatever.
Oh, he's been terrible. In fact,
I'm saying Rondo is like a DMP half the time, then he randomly plays 20 minutes. I don't really know what his role is on the team.
yeah, he was DMP last game, and they won by 26.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, playoff Rondo is doing playoff Rondo on the bench.
I guess, but the thing about the Clippers you have to keep in mind is Paul George. Because he had one good game. Is he going to have 2 in a row? I don't know. Nobody really knows. But Kawhi has been pretty quiet in this series, which is very dangerous for Utah.
I can just imagine watching a Clippers game with you because every time Paul George misses out, like, oh, see, I told you he sucks.
It's just a playoff thing, man. I mean, he was great in Game 3, but I also hold him to a higher standard. Because you look at the contract that he got paid and the amount of draft picks the Clippers gave up, he should be playing like Kawhi Leonard every game because you gave Oklahoma City every draft pick for about, the next 20 years?
It's a minute.
So I hold you to a high standard based on what your trade value was.
Okay.
Is that fair? Because that's one of the worst trades I've ever seen. Unless the Clippers win a title.
Yeah. The good Clippers win a title.
If they don't win a title, that trade is going to age historically bad.
I think plus 155 when the Clips there is a good spot.
I think it is too. But I think if you want to play it safe, minus 180 on plus 1.5 games.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't hate either one of those. All right, my friend. Well, we talked a little bit about it on the top of the show about how well we both enjoyed the Islanders game as the Islanders snuck out a 2-1 win, Scott. Very, very exciting. Good hockey for sure. So on the other side, we've got Vegas and Montreal. They get going on Monday night, on tonight. And as far as this game in particular, Vegas, as you might suspect, just like Tampa Bay was, by the way, they weren't quite this big a favorite, but Vegas is a massive favorite. They opened up at minus 260. Pinnacle opened up 260, now 271. You can still find some 265 if you shop around. There's also minus 280. So if you're looking for the Canadiens, you could do worse than to head over to my old friend Billy Hill. William Hill has it minus 280 for the Golden Knights. So, Scott, first of all, are we seeing the best team in hockey go at it here in the Las Vegas Golden Knights?
I still think Vegas is very, very close to Tampa. I know Tampa lost game 1 against the Islanders, but I do think both the teams just on paper are the most talented teams in the entire league. But this price is absurd, man. I mean, this price is crazy. Now, you can talk about Vegas being favored and how they should be, and I get all that. Minus 280 against a team that's won 7 in a row? Really?
Yeah, I don't see it.
I think Vegas might win the game, but
of course, they should be. They should be absolutely favored.
Then again, I thought the Tampa price today was stupid. I think Tampa is a very good team, but Tampa should have been like 150, and I think Vegas should have been 200.
Yeah, and this is another ridiculous series price, and I don't know who gets involved here, Scott, because you know what Vegas is to win the series.
If you shop around, you can find different lines, but mostly minus 500, I think.
Yeah, minus 500.
I don't buy that narrative.
No.
Now, I think Montreal is an amazing team? Sorry to interrupt you. No, I think Montreal is a team that's getting hot at the right time. But once again, that's all you need for a hockey playoff run. You don't have to be good the entire year. If you're good for the last month and a half, you can beat anybody, especially in hockey. And I think the Canadians are very, very dangerous.
Especially if your goalie gets hot. Scott, how's the Montreal goalie been?
One of the best in the league, if not the best in the league with Carey Price.
There you go.
And we know Fleury every now and then. Of course, he's good. He'll let in a softie or two.
Yeah.
But you can keep the recipe for both. I'd say for both series, they're kind of the same. I mean, the Islanders' goal is to just stay out of the box and try to keep low-scoring games. What do you think Montreal wants to do? You think they want to go up and down with Vegas?
Yeah.
Of course not. They want to keep it low-scoring, 2-1, grind it out, and win some overtime games. But with Carey Price in net, Montreal does have the better goalie. And I think that even if you think Vegas is going to win the series, I would not expect Montreal to roll over and die. I just don't see that happening.
I agree. If you want to play Vegas in this, I would pray for a Montreal win in the first game because I think at minus 500, it's untouchable.
I agree. I think
So,
if you're going to play it, even minus 1.5 games, I don't even know how I feel about that one because
what is that, 250 or so, 230?
it should be around there. But if you're looking at a cheaper way to take Vegas, Vegas in regulation is minus 150. Do I really like that? No, because I think Montreal might be live to win the game. But I would not pay minus 280 in any situation for this spot. I am tempted by overtime, though, which is plus 340, which I do think is very interesting.
I know you've had some luck cashing a couple overtime tickets so far this postseason.
Every overtime is almost a minimum of plus 300. And if you see playoff hockey, a lot of close games. And if games are tied in about 8 minutes to go, both teams suddenly get a little bit tighter. And you see the open ice vanish. Both teams are kind of playing for the tie in a way where they're just trying to avoid giving up any great chances to the opposition. I think plus 340 on an overtime shot is definitely worth it.
I agree. I think 340 is probably about as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, usually it's around 280
in a competitive hockey game like that.
Yeah, and if you think that Price is it's possible for him to save 35 out of 37 shots, then why not?
Agreed. And see, we talked about it the other day. What were the Lightning like 300 and 290 to win the series?
Give or take. I think they were around like anywhere from 260 to 300.
So the price on them, that's kind of my point. After losing the first game in the series to the Islanders, their price is now minus 125.
Yeah. So, and I think that if you like Tampa, that's a decent spot to take them.
Agreed. Absolutely. It's like the people that go out the day after Christmas and buy all their Christmas cards for next year when they're all on sale.
Yep.
You ever meet people like that?
I definitely have met one or two that like to save money.
There you go. All right. So we both agree that the Knights probably win the series, probably win the game, overvalued at this point.
I agree. I think that Vegas will win the series either in 6 or 7. I do think Montreal is going to give them a tough series, but minus 500, man. I mean, that's just otherworldly.
Well, you're paying the Vegas tax.
Correct.
It's the second biggest ripoff after resort charges.
I was going to say after the Yankees in baseball, but that too.
Yeah, that's also true. But yeah, you're definitely paying the Vegas tax because everybody and their mother that lives in Vegas just loads up on the Knights every game.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little basketball, Scott. We got a couple of games on tap for tonight. The Philadelphia 76ers and Atlanta Hawks get underway there in Atlanta. 225.5 is the total. Hasn't been a ton of movement there. Little bit of under money maybe creeping in. 2.5. The Sixers were favored as an opener. It's now been some movement there. You're starting to see 3.5 pretty much in most spots. There is still some 3. So if you do like the Sixers, 3 would be your number there. So Scott, we were talking about it. Joel Embiid, he figured out how to beat the Hawks no matter what they do to try to stop him. They stack the box. They basically put 9 men in the box. They stack the box. They stack the paint, and they double team him, and they slide somebody over to just shut off the path to the paint. What does he do? He just dishes the ball to the open 3-point shooter. So if this is a Embiid that's still going to get to the line 16 times, going to dish out 8 assists, still score 27 points, does Atlanta have a shot?
No. It's a situation you could tell after game 1. Now, I know Atlanta won game 1, but when the other team's best player goes for 30-plus or 40-plus on one knee, you probably have some issues, and that's carried over because I know Embiid had 40 in game 2, then he had the 27-point game in game 3. He probably would have gone for 40 had they not double-teamed him half the time. So do I think Atlanta's suddenly going to figure out how to stop this guy? Maybe if they bring back, like, Dikembe Mutombo in his prime with, like, the DeLorean, but like, that's just not going to happen. No, like, Embiid's going to kill this team. Tobias Harris has been very good. Simmons has been very good. They just have too many weapons. And you're looking at Atlanta, this team offensively has really struggled. And I know that they're a very, very three-point reliant team. Philly's done a pretty good job guarding the three-point line. And Atlanta, I don't really want to say they have no plan B, but if they have a plan B, it's pretty minimal.
Well, without Trae Young, the rest of the Atlanta team, Trae Young went 3 for 6. The rest of the Atlanta team went 3 for 20 from downtown.
Yeah, but we know Bogdanovich is good. We know they have weapons there. Like, they can shoot most games, but Philly's done a great job.
Well, they might want to start.
Yeah, I was going to say, Philly's done a great job making them uncomfortable.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, Philly, they did a very nice job. They don't take a ton of 3-pointers, but they were, if you take out Embiid's 1 for 3, they shot 15% or 50%. They shot 14 for 28, I believe, from downtown. Or 12.
Now, this guy's not the most valuable player on the team, of course, because that's Embiid. But how invaluable is Seth Curry on that team? He is in such a perfect situation with the rest of that roster.
Yeah, he's, I don't know that he would succeed on every roster, but you absolutely have the right player in the right spot there.
Especially with Simmons, who never looks to shoot. I mean, that's just a perfect spot for him.
What a weird position that is. You've got a 6'10" point guard who doesn't shoot,
and you got about a 6'3" shooting guard who only shoots.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, very, very, very strange. So, who you got there? And with the Sixers, we'll call it -3.
Well, we are going to mention this game later for our Bet the Farm segment. But looking at the actual side, I like Philly. Okay. Until Atlanta shows me something, I know that they have a good home court advantage. So did Denver. How'd that work out?
Yeah, exactly right. And we've got we have a premium on the side on that game as well. So as far as the total goes, got 225.5. Is the number there?
I'm going to skip the total because I think that'll help segue into the segment later in the show.
Okay, very good, very good. A little correlation there, if you will. And of course, the other game is going to be out west. We talked a little bit about it with the Clippers and the Jazz. Clippers in this game -4.5. Starting to see a little bit of Clippers money coming in, Scott, creeping up to 5. It's 5 at Pinnacle. It's 5 at DraftKings.
It's 5 on FanDuel as well.
5 on FanDuel. So 223.5 is where this opened. It stands at 223.5. Did I say 223.5 on the other one? I meant 220. If I didn't say 225.5, I messed up. Sorry.
225.5 on Philly, and it's 223.5 on Los Angeles.
Correct. A little bit of over money coming in there, starting to see it creep up to 224 at a couple different spots. What are your feelings on this game?
Well, I got to go with the Clippers. And it's kind of like why I talked about the series price. If you don't know how healthy Mitchell is, I don't want to say assume the worst, but they also just buried Utah 2 days ago, and Mitchell got injured in that game. So Conley, we don't know. Shocker, it's the NBA, and we don't know who's playing. But Mitchell, we know if he's not 100%, I don't have faith in the rest of the supporting cast to show up for Utah. I also don't have faith in Paul George to have another great game. I'm still waiting on Kawhi to have that 35, 10, and 5 game that we haven't seen yet. Right. And we know that he's capable of doing. I got to go with the Clippers here because if Mitchell's not going to get you a guaranteed 35, I don't think Utah's going to score enough.
Yeah.
But I also like the over just because every game's gone over in this series and the pace has been really, really just fast. So I still like the over even if Mitchell's not fully there. I like the Clippers team total over a lot, but I'm going with the Clippers -4.5. I just think that with Mitchell being compromised, this Clippers team should roll at home.
You think Mike Conley might try to come back too soon?
It's always possible. I mean, it depends on how desperate your team is. I don't think Conley's going to play in Game 4 because I think Utah knows we got home court advantage. All we have to do is win Game 5 and Game 7, and we're good to go. So do I think he's going to come back for this game? No. Do I think that it's going to work out well for Utah long term? No. But at some point, I think Conley will come back a little bit too early. You?
Yeah, I agree. I think especially if Mitchell's out, that Conley may push it.
I think Mitchell's going to play, but I think he'll be very, very, I'd say, hindered throughout.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's a shame, Scott. You know,
I'm sure the league is thrilled, by the way.
With everybody getting hurt.
I meant just with potentially Utah not making the Western Conference Finals against Phoenix.
Who does the league want there?
The Clippers. You got Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't know why do they care about the Suns or Utah.
No, because I'm saying if you have Utah against Phoenix, your ratings might have some problems.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's what I meant. Like the worst case scenario for the league is probably Utah Milwaukee finals.
Yes.
So
Market wise, it would certainly be Utah Milwaukee would be.
now I'm not saying it's a conspiracy or anything, but I'm saying if people are going to be sad at Donovan Mitchell being injured and whatever, I'm sure the league genuinely does not care.
Yeah,
Is that too harsh?
I think it's
I think you understand the point I'm coming from, though. You understand my point.
By the way, everybody, it's a good time to remind everyone that these opinions are Scott Reichel's only, do not reflect the views of WinnersandWhiners.com or any radio station that you may happen to be listening to this on, or YouTube, of course.
Just me.
Just him. You can hit him up at Reichel Radio, at Reichel Radio over there on Twitter.
I got nothing against Utah. I can just tell you for a fact the league would rather see Los Angeles in the Western Conference Finals.
Think we got a lot of sports bettors in Utah, Scott?
It depends. I don't know if it's allowed in the Tabernacle or not.
It's not allowed. Tabernacle, no. It's
you can't bet on sports, but you can have multiple wives. What a state.
As again, that's at Reichel Radio.
Yep, at Reichel Radio. Just bring it on.
Over there on Twitter. All right, bud. Let's switch gears as we come down the home stretch here. Talk a little MLB. Your man's pitching for Arizona. Hey, how bad is this Arizona team, buddy?
Bad. I can't believe firing the hitting coach and the assistant hitting coach did nothing.
Didn't help. Unbelievable.
Can't believe it.
Well, they still trotted out Duplantier, so
it's a good thing they kept the pitching coach.
Jesus.
Oh God.
Oh, that was such an easy win, Scott. We had the Angels going against Duplantier. We're laying like 130, 125, wherever we finally got it at. Like,
and somebody ended up betting Arizona.
Of course. Arizona money comes in every game for no apparent reason.
Yeah, I'll take the Giants on the run line with Wood on the mound against Peacock.
Do you just as a quick one here, Scott? Little quick trivia question for you. Do you know how many games the Diamondbacks have won since May 15th?
I don't know, 3?
Close.
Is it 2?
It is 2. 2 games they have won since May 15th. Quick reminder, it's June 14th right now.
That's not good.
That is not good. And yet, if you look at the odds on this team, every game they are overvalued.
They should be priced like the Rangers and the Rockies, and they're not.
Yeah, that's a great point. The Rangers, the Rockies, the Pirates, they should be in that class because they're worse than all of them. They have the worst record in baseball. Not surprising when you're 22 games under 500 for the last month.
Yep.
Jesus. So tonight, they've got the odds a little closer to where they should be, Scott. Who's pitching for Arizona, by the way?
You got Matt Peacock on the mound, who's not very good.
You played that straight, really?
Peacock?
There you go. There you go.
He's on the mound, not very good.
That's the one Daddy was looking for. That's right. Peacock, not very good. Alex Wood goes for the San Francisco Baseball Giants. Minus 190 is the price on the Gigantes. Best team in baseball, Scott?
No, but I think that they're probably top 5, top 7.
I guess.
The point is there's a huge talent disparity here, and Wood's been pretty good. Lately, not as good, but you got to fade Arizona on the road, right? I mean, they've won, one road game since Bumgarner's no-hitter?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Not good at all. Maybe play a little run line there, huh? Get that price down.
Yeah, plus 100. I'll take the even money.
What else you like today?
Other than that, though, I know the Cardinals are bad, but on the run line, plus 120, Wainwright against Garrett. We faded Garrett in his last start. And Miami, we know he can't hit. Wainwright's usually good at home, was not good in his last start. But I do like the value at plus 120 there. I think that's pretty tempting.
Okay. All right. That's solid.
I also like Boyd on the money line at plus 116 against the Royals.
Boyd?
Yeah, Boyd.
Yeah, that's
we mentioned how bad the Royals have been. I mean, you got to stick with it. And Detroit has done pretty well against Kansas City, and they're getting plus money with Boyd, who's clearly a better pitcher than Keller. No offense.
What? What? A better pitcher than bad Brad Keller?
I know you really have a very limited amount of pitchers who are better than Brad Keller.
Yeah, listen, guys. If you can fade the Royals right now at plus money,
You got to do it.
you got to do it. You just
Yeah.
do. And Kansas City may win, but they are having trouble scoring runs, man. They are. He can't hit their way out of a wet paper bag. All right,
not
my
good.
friend. Well, you know what time it is, don't you?
It is time to first of all recap how we
That's right.
did on our
That's right.
last Bet the Farm pick.
As you guys know, if you're fans of the show, you listen. You know, every day Scott and I do a Bet the Farm play where we put our heads together. We come up with what is our favorite play, regardless of the sport. Sometimes it's hockey, sometimes it's basketball, sometimes it's baseball, sometimes it's a prop. It's whatever it is that we think we could make a little money at. So, Scott, let me ask you a quick question. We had a Saturday game, and we faded a not-so-hot shot rookie for the Kansas City Royals. And how did that go for us?
We ended up picking up a nice sweat-free winner with the A's.
At that farm. All right, very good. As absolutely. That one cashed. That's 2 in a row for us. So, Scott, we're going to try to keep it going here on a little segment that we like to call Bet the Farm. All right, Scotty, let's see what we've got in the Bet the Farm machine for today. Hey, how about those 76ers? We teased it a little bit earlier, and we're going to take kind of a spin on a different area with the 76ers. We're not sure how that defense is going to be, but we like the offense very much. We're going to take the 76ers team total over 114.5. Why? Well, quite simply, they've been on a scoring binge here in the playoffs. They've scored at least 118 points in each of their first 3 games. DeAndre Hunter is out for Atlanta. That is a huge deal from a defensive standpoint because he is the best perimeter defender on the team. And we talked about Philadelphia going 50% from downtown, and that's a big reason why. And the 76ers, they have a march to the free throw line. They have attempted at least 35 free throws in 2 of the first 3 games. And as you know, free throws are the over bettor's best friend because they put the points on the board with no time going off the clock. So for us, we are going to go Bet the Farm on your Philadelphia 76ers team total over 114.5.
At the end of the day, they can't stop Embiid. We talked about how the Hawks have tried to do stuff. We give him props for trying. Unfortunately, trying's not good enough sometimes. And Philadelphia, if they continue to shoot the 3 ball well and get to the line, they should score at least 115 points in this game.
There is no try, Scott. There is do or do not do.
Amen.
All right, there you go. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for your Monday edition of Winners and Whiners Radio. Don't forget Winners and Whiners Radio. Give us an hour, and we will give you the winners. So, guys, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Whatever it is, don't forget to tell your friends. We do it each and every day. And Scott and I, we wish you nothing but the best of luck on all your plays. We will see you next time on Winners and Whiners Radio. Take care, everybody.